Hello and welcome to another video by Decadev. Today we're going to be talking about Docker, mainly from the aspect of just creating Docker files and building out images. So the first thing I want to do with my empty folder is do a git init, just so I've got initialization of git. So now I'm going to do my git branch back m main just to make it nice and clean. Nice and clean, no commits. The next thing I'm thinking is, what application could it be that I want to make? Well, for this point, I suppose I'll just make like a Python file. So let's say main.py, and let's say print hello from Docker. Okay, so now we have a main.py. So there's a couple of things we can do here. But what I do want to do is create a new Docker file. So a Docker file is a way of describing a actual Docker image that we want to create. We can do a lot of different things with this, but I'm just going to make a simple, slim Python 3.11 Docker image. So to do that, I'm going to open up a new file called Docker file. Notice in the capital D, the rest of it in smalls. So for now, I'm going to say from and the thing that I want to go from. So I want to go from a Python image, but I want specifically the 3.11 slim. Keep it nice and clean. I want to have some sort of a volume. Now, volumes I use to kind of share between the Docker sort of virtualized environment and your local environment. So I'm going to say /app for this. I'm also going to make the working directory app as well. So work the /app. Ideally, we want to copy all the things from the current directory into the virtualized area. So copy dot /app. Then what we want to do is we want to run. So we'll run a command. So what do we want to run? In this case, I want to kind of install any possible requirements. And we'll get into requirements a little bit later. But in fact, yeah, we're not even going to bother with that step at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say the command what I want to run is going to be Python. And I'm going to be using my main.py that we created. Okay. Super simple. Not much going on there. I mean, we could get away without even doing the volume, but for now we'll stick with that. Now I'm gonna right and quit this. Now here's the fun part. Now we have to build our Docker image now. So to build our Docker image, we can literally just go, okay, well, I want to build it. I'll just say, okay, let's Docker build with a tag of my hello Docker. And use a dot to say, look in the current directory to find the Docker file. So I'll press enter. It's now grabbing that Python slim, exporting the image, and jobs are good. So now, if I want to run it and look at, use it in some way, I could just go Docker run --rm, so it removes the image afterwards, -it for interactive if we want. And then we could just literally say, okay, well, I want to run the thing. And what did I call it? I called it my hello Docker. And as you can say, hello from Docker. It ran. It basically, it was a virtualized sort of environment where it's got the actual thing and it does what we told it to do. In essence, you can do anything you want with a Docker thing within reason, as in anything that's within that operating system's purview. So let's imagine that we want to, I don't know, do something a bit more. Think about something like maybe, I don't know, a Hello World version of a Flask app or something. For this, we'd need to kind of add a few different things here. Um, we couldn't just have it as is. I'm just answering some questions. So for this situation, I want to kind of include Flask. Now, remember I said about the whole maybe installing some requirements of some sort. We could do that. We can kind of make a requirements text file. So I'll do nvim requirements.txt. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I just want to pretty much just use Flask. Don't care about the version too much, but that's fine. Okay, so now basically we can install the requirements within this as well. So for this situation, all we need to do to our Docker file, at least for the requirements part, is add that line, add a run of like installing the requirements. So let's do that. Let's go in here. And before the command, I'm going to put a run here, install. I don't want a cache directory because what will happen is it'll cruft up the place. But I do want to do the tag r requirements.txt. Okay. So that's that next part. Now, I also want to expose some ports. Now, I think, is it five? I think port 5000 is the standardized port for Flask, if I remember rightly. So I'll say expose 5000. So exposing port 5000 to the world from this specific place. So that will kind of give us our kind of thing. But we also want to tell you what is the name of the Flask app? What we're going to use. So we need to kind of make some environmental variable. So to do that, I'm just going to go env and say Flask underscore app equals main.py. Okay, so now we've actually got our Flask app there. That means I've got to change this command though. So I want it to run the Flask app. The first thing is Flask. Next thing is run. I also want to say, okay, I want it to be available on any IP address. So I'm going to say tac host equals 0.0.0.0. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more of something to run. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to write a Flask app in the main.py. Let's write that. Let's go and look at my main.py. So instead of hello from Docker, I want to create a Flask app. So what I can do here is remove my print. I want to import Flask. So I'll say from Flask, import Flask. Now I want to make a new app equal to Flask. And I want to give it the actual name. So let's look variable name. I just want to do like hello world here. So I'm just going to make a app.route. And the route I want to use is just the base address. Then let's define a function. I'm just going to say hello. Now this hello function, we're going to just return hello from Docker. Now we need to run the Flask app. So if my name is equal to main, then whoops, that's an awesome if condition. Then we can literally do app.run, give it a host. So I'll say host equals 0.0.0.0, so the same as it was expecting. And I also want to say that the port is going to be equal to 5,000 from there. Okay, super simple, pretty much hello world, but for Flask. Now that we've done that, we can go off and build our Docker again. Well, actually, we probably won't. Do we need to even build it? I'm going to do it just for completeness. So I've got all the bits together, just in case. See if it'll install. Collecting all the bits. That's awesome. Installing Flask and everything else. How awesome is that? Exporting all the layers, doing its thing. Now, let's try what we did before. We got our Docker run. Now, my problem is we need to expose the port. If we don't expose the port, we can't actually get to it. Okay. So at this point, I want to do the run, and I'll put -p for port 5,000 : 5,000. It's running on port 5,000. So if we go on there, I'm going to move over. Where did that open? Oh, it's open on the screen. Here we go. I'll move this over. Localhost, hello from Docker. How cool is that? We now have a Flask application that's been Dockerized that we can actually get to and do things with. So I think I'll end it there as a hello from Docker sort of thing. But we can let me know if we want to make more of these with different types of applications. If you want to see me actually build out application utilizing Docker or build out infrastructure and things like that, if you'd like to see any of that, please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, please think about sort of liking it. It helps with the algorithm. And also feel free to subscribe to get more content like this. Have a great day.